Good morning. How's everyone doing? Enjoying the conference? Good, good. Well, I'm excited to be here. It is great to be a part of this event. I've been here many, many years, and this topic in particular is really special to me. This is something that I've grown into over the years, and we're going to talk about leading our communities in cybersecurity. Sounds easy, right? It's not, but we're going to talk about some different things here. I'll just walk you through our agenda for today. I'm going to give you a little bit of my background and hopefully convince you to stay in the session and tell you a little bit about myself and where I've come from and why I am where I am today. We're going to talk about some emerging cyber threats. Now, you guys probably hear a lot of that stuff pretty frequently if you stay up on these sorts of things. But we're going to talk about kind of some trending things and some things coming down the road. We're going to talk about what we do today for our communities, for our customers, for our members. And we're going to talk about people. We're going to talk about risk and the risk in people. And then we're going to talk about what I believe is really a great opportunity for independent telephone companies to take hold of. So about me, I have been with OXEN Technology for 18 years. That's roughly half my life. And it's great because when I started there, I started working with you guys. And so I've also been with this industry, with this community for 18 years. And growing up in dial-up days and moving to DSL and fiber and all of this stuff that's happened, I've been able to be a part of that for many telcos in the state. So it's been exciting. It's been fun for me. Most of my career I've been technical. OXEN Technology is a managed service provider. We work on computers, we put in servers, we work on switching, networking stuff, all of those things. And I've been on the technical side of that for quite some time. And also I managed our service team. We've got a few locations across the Midwest. We've got here in Ames, Harlan, Iowa, Omaha, Nebraska, Wichita, Kansas, and down in Joplin, Missouri. So we cover a good region in the Midwest, and I've managed our service team for about 5 years, and then jumped into the sales side of it and got to see that perspective and that angle. And then just recently, over the last year and a half, 2 years, I began consulting, seeing the need for a little bit more in-depth help with cybersecurity. I've been able to work with several of you and other small businesses in the region, helping them to develop cybersecurity policies, all of those things. So yeah, I've done quite a bit of different things. Maybe I'll take on accounting next. I don't know. Probably not. But I do have my CISSP, which is typically regarded as the gold standard for cybersecurity certifications. That was a great cert to have, and learned a lot through that process. And I am leading our OXEN cybersecurity practice. And as an MSP, we've spent most of our years, our company's been in business over 30 years, and we've spent the bulk of those 30 years just making stuff work, much like you guys, right? So our companies really aren't too different in basic philosophy. We're out there to help people stay connected, do what they need to do online, all of that good stuff. But things have changed. It's not about just making it work. It's about securing it too. We can't just make it work and leave it alone. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. And Again, working with you guys in all sorts of different businesses, banking, CPAs, electric companies, all sorts of different businesses in IT and cybersecurity. So that's me. That's what I'm about, and it's great to be here with you today. So let's talk a little bit about emerging threats. So phishing's huge, right? Phishing emails, not necessarily emerging, but I have it up here because 91% of cybersecurity breaches are due to spear phishing emails. That's a pretty big percentage, right? 91% are coming through an email, somebody's clicking on something and giving them their credentials, giving them remote access in to their computers. And it's effective, obviously effective at 91%. So it's not a new thing, but it's out there. And phishing is a form of social engineering. Social engineering is really just tricking somebody into doing something, right? You're just manipulating somebody to get what you want. I'll tell you a quick story kind of related to social engineering. Many years ago, 40, 50 years ago, there was a series of bank robberies in a local community, and in neighboring communities. And there was one bank that hadn't been hit yet. And a guy came in and he said, "Hey, I'm an undercover cop. You hear about all this going on. I'm gonna be here just in case something happens." And people at the bank, they're feeling refreshed, so thank goodness, because we were really worried about that. So he'd come in day after day. It was a couple weeks of being there, and everybody felt safer, right, with the cop there. And lo and behold, 2.5 weeks later, somebody comes in to rob the bank. And gun pointed, gets money in the bag, starts to walk out the door. The undercover cop, he's there. He saves the day, tackles the guy, puts him in handcuffs, and the bank was so relieved that he did that, that he was there, appreciated the proactive work of the police force to do that. And he said, "I'm going to take this guy downtown. I'm taking the money downtown because it's evidence, and then I'll bring it back." And they were gone, never seen again, right? And so this is part of what we're up against, right? He wasn't an undercover cop, right? He was in on the whole deal, and they scooted out of town with the money. So that's part of what we're up against, and it's not new, it's just amplified with the internet. So the electric grid, obviously a big deal. Right, you've all heard that Russians were sitting in the network for months, right, and nobody knew it. Just poking around, just learning. Obviously, it has been a threat. It's going to continue to be a threat. IoT, Internet of Things. So, with this wonderful internet that we've provided everybody here in the state. We have all of these devices now that connect, right? And it's really cool what you can do. It's really cool that you can control your thermostat, lock your doors, have the camera at the door, control your lights, all of those things. The challenge with IoT is this market is fierce, right? It is moving fast. And so these companies have to get their stuff to market really, really quick, right? Come up with the idea, build it, get it out, sell as much as you can, because you've got 5 more companies right on your tail. And so the downside to that is what gets left behind? Security, right? So they don't do all the bug testing, they don't do everything that they need to do. And I'm not saying don't use those devices. There's things you can do to help secure those and minimize your risk. But but it does add risk. And because of all of those devices, one prediction that's out there is that, you guys know what ransomware is, right? You click on something on your computer, it encrypts your files, and if you want those files unencrypted again, you pay them money, and they'll unencrypt them, and you can go about life. Very effective in its approach. It's a huge thing out there, but there's thoughts that eventually houses will be taken ransom, right? Yeah, I've got your doors locked. I've turned up your thermostat to 100 degrees. All your lights are going to flicker until you pay me $250, and I'll give you your house back. With all of the creativity of all of the great stuff that's happening, there's also creativity on the bad side of things. And so, and I think we can imagine, right? I mean, hopefully there isn't one, but the next World War is going to be a huge cyber war, right? And it's not going to be military against military. It's going to be everyone against everyone, right? Taking down businesses, disrupting electricity, disrupting internet connectivity, and just decimating our lives. Electricity and internet alone is going to be huge, a huge disruption for our world today. And so you'll see in the graphic there on the right, the World Threat Assessment. So this was published by the government at the end of January, right? And it covers all of the threats of our world around the globe today to the United States, and you know, it talks about biological weapons, migrating populations, refugees, weapons of mass destruction, all of that stuff. If you flip through the table of contents on this, the top worldwide threat, the first one, cyber, right? This is a big deal. So all of this stuff is happening. Here's some of the results. Ransomware increases over 300% year after year. Why? Because it's working. People are falling for it. They're getting rich off of doing this. Did you know that this ransomware, the software to do this, is a paid-for service that you can buy? You can go online and say, I would like to send some ransomware out to these folks, and if you can do that, and then we'll split the money afterwards. You just get online, buy it like you would anything else. It's crazy. It's sophisticated. It's advanced, and it just continues to evolve. 43% of attacks are on small to medium businesses. Okay, this is. I talk and I try to get this message out the best that I can, but people think it's just the big guys getting hit. And really, if you're a hacker, you really want to go after the small businesses. They're really your target, because guess what? OXEN, you guys, we don't have millions of dollars to put into cybersecurity, do we? Right? Google, Microsoft, those guys, they can. We don't. And so we have to up our game, because we're a huge target right now. And they can hit a bunch of us and pull a lot of money out of our businesses. Cyber damage is projected to hit $6 trillion in 2021 worldwide. $6 trillion of money shifting because of illegal activity. This is where we're at. This is where we're at. So it's not like we're not doing anything, right? You guys are doing some stuff to help the community, right? We're doing antivirus They can subscribe to your antivirus service. A lot of you are using that, and help protect those PCs a little bit. We're installing routers, right? Hopefully keeping firmware up to date and putting passwords so it's not default. All of those kind of things. We're helping security. Wi-Fi, we're doing managed Wi-Fi for homes more and more. You guys are getting into that, which is good, because then you don't have to leave it open, right? You can advise your customers to put passwords on, put a level of encryption on there, and that's great. And with that managed Wi-Fi, some of you are even going to managed home, where they need help hooking up all of these IoT devices and all of those things. And so it's not like we're not doing anything. But if you'll notice on this list, all of this stuff is technical, right? It's all technology. Cybersecurity, it's about risk. And cyber risk is bigger than technology. And I don't know how many people I've talked to that, well, yeah, we've got a firewall, we do antivirus, and the mentality is to just keep throwing technology at it to fix the problem. But it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And we need cybersecurity policies, right? Covering our organization to help protect us when those things happen, to put some procedures in place to help protect data and how we handle it. We need to be training our employees. And so as we look at the community, I assume that you guys are doing that, right? Or you're looking at that, and you don't have it all figured out. Nobody does. If you think you do, you're wrong. We're all just trying to improve and move forward. And so if you're not started on that, if you're not down that journey of developing policies and really getting a cybersecurity program in place, no matter how big or small you are, if you stop by our booth, I've got a book that I recommend. I've got 15 of them right now down there. If you're a reader, it's really for the CEO, general manager of a company to understand cybersecurity. And in that book, they're going to tell you, don't offload this to your IT team. As brilliant as they are, as amazing of things that they can do, and they can fix anything and all of that, you can't offload this. This is about business risk. These are decisions that need to be made by leadership, key leadership in the company. And so if you're interested in that, stop by our booth. I'll get you a book. If I run out, give me your card. We'll get you a book in the mail. But it paints a great perspective for the role of leadership in cybersecurity. We have got to educate people. Probably the biggest thing that we're missing right now is education of people. Untrained people are your biggest risk, right? Have your antivirus, have your firewall, have all of these different protections. You're patching your computers, you're doing all this technology stuff, your Wi-Fi is encrypted. That's all great. But if you've got somebody uneducated on the other end of the keyboard that can click on something, they can completely ruin your world, right? And we just continue to throw technology at the problem, right? And so cybersecurity really needs to be a team effort. We need to work together. We need to be all on the same team moving forward in cybersecurity. And if you can imagine coaching a team, and we've got two teams battling, one wins and one loses. And the one that loses, the coach stands in front of those players and he goes, "This is all your fault because you didn't know what you were doing. You lost the game for us, guys. What's your problem?" The winning coach is on the other side saying, Because we had the best shoes, because of the technology that we built into the ball, because of all of this, we were able to win. Because of the technology, right? Would you want your coach talking to either team that way, right? It's all the people's fault, or we're going to give praise to the technology when we win, right? We want to invest in people. We want to invest in relationships. We want to bring people along and have them be part of the solution. Right now, are we addressing the risk? No, we're not. That's the challenge. We're not. Are we telling our end users? There's two sides of this, right? There's our business. There's our employees that we're taking care of, and then there's the community that we're serving. And really, I want to talk about the community today. Are we telling them they should have identity theft insurance? Because not if, but when your identity gets stolen, if you do have identity theft insurance, if you have the right kind, they'll clean that mess up for you. They'll help you in that scenario, and nobody wants to go through that alone, right? Little things like that, scam phone calls. Who has either received or had a parent or a grandparent receive a call saying their grandchild's in trouble and needs some money? I have, yep, several. It's out there. It's happening all the time. And do people know about it? They don't. I mean, not until it happens, right? And then you go back and you say, hey, don't do that next time. How can we get ahead of that? How can we help our community? Do they even know the difference between secure and unsecure sites, right? And part of our challenge is we've got a whole spectrum of people. And we've got people, 85 years old trying to, do things on the internet, and they want to keep up with their kids on Facebook. And so they want to engage, but they never dealt with technology growing up or in their working lives. And then you've got kids that just don't know yet. And so we've got a huge challenge in educating people, but it's something that we need to do. In educating people, we've got to understand where they're at in the learning steps, right? So if you see on the left, it's, I don't know what I don't know. Right? I don't have a clue that there's a problem. I'm completely oblivious to cybersecurity threats. That next step is, I hear the news. I hear a lot of bad stuff happens over there. I don't have any idea how to protect myself or what to do about it, but I know it's dangerous out there. Those two steps, that's where most of our communities are. That is not a good spot to be. And we continue to use the internet more and more and more. What I want to see is us move the community from stage 1 and 2 to stage 3 and 4. Stage 3 is, I know what to do when I have an email that looks a little suspicious. I know to hover over links before I click on them. I know to look at the from address, not just the name. I know how to do those things, but I have to think about it. I have to go, wait a minute. Before I click, before I respond, let's do these steps. All right, what are my steps? I got to do this and this and this. Oh, yeah, that's no good. I'm not going to click on that. Step 4 is really, it's just natural. Right? You get that email. Before you click on any link, you're hovering over it and looking at it. You're looking at the from address before you reply. Just natural. Just natural. So in many ways, we're sending our people out on the internet into a war zone without any self-defense class, going into the war zone without a helmet on, right? And it's dangerous out there. So how do we evolve what we're doing and help people? Well, I don't have all the answers. I I wish I did. I wish I did. But the good news is you guys are problem solvers, right? Having worked with you for 18 years, I've seen what you're capable of. You've accomplished some great things, right? Stuff where nothing existed and you made stuff. No phone lines, we got phone lines. No internet, we got internet. Too slow, let's make it faster. I don't know how to use the internet, let's train you how to use the internet. You guys have led your communities beautifully. And you've not only led your people to be able to compete in this world online, to reap the benefits of all that online services have to offer, but you've built the infrastructure to support it. It's amazing. It's amazing what you've done. We've got our office in Wichita. I talk to people down there, and I'm a geek, so I'm like, hey, how's your internet speed? That's our small talk. It's terrible. Yeah, I'm on a cable modem and it's slow. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 10 miles outside of Harlan, Iowa, and I've got fiber to my house. And they go, what? What? Are you kidding me? So we've got something great. We blow people's minds when we tell them what we built, and to think that we have fiber where we have fiber right now is crazy almost anywhere else in the country. And so here we are, right? We're presented with our next opportunity. The internet is too dangerous. It's too dangerous. And there's all kinds of stats out there on the number of people hacked, and really, we don't know. Nobody knows because somebody gets ransomware and they don't want to share that. A grandparent gets scammed and let's just keep this hush-hush in the family and we don't need to tell anybody about it. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time. So how do we overcome this? How do we solve this problem? I believe we need to engage our community. I don't believe that this is all on you guys, right? I know you've done phone, I know you've done video, I know you've done internet, you built all that really single-handedly. This isn't a single-handed deal. I mean, you can try if you want, but there's opportunity here to engage our communities at a deeper level. We have to start, I believe that you guys are primed to start that conversation. I mean, do you guys ever get calls of somebody's email getting hacked or somebody's computer running slow because they have malware? No, I didn't think so. No, you feel that pain, right? Your tech support feels that pain, and I know it's not their computer, it's your service, right? Except for they have 43 pieces of malware on their computer right now. But those are the challenges you face. Think about a bank. How many calls do they get? Well, they put their card on some site they shouldn't have, right? It wasn't a secure site and the number got compromised. Or they gave their online banking password went to some phishing site and gave that up. All of those things. Their customers and your customers are the same, right? And they suffer from the same things. Right? Your school's involved. I spoke at the ITech conference a few weeks ago, and this is to all the IT directors in the state that came to that show, and I said, show of hands, who's doing anything with cybersecurity training and education? One person out of like the 30 in the room was doing anything. So our education system is not even up to par with cybersecurity, and not even training their teachers, right? And how are our teachers supposed to teach our children if they're unaware, if they're not educated. So schools need an answer, right? Banks need an answer. You guys need an answer. IT solution providers, we're cleaning up those messes all the time, right? And that's not the type of work we want to do, right? We would rather install new technology. We would rather be proactive on the cybersecurity front, helping them to prevent things. And when these things happen, when they get hit with ransomware and we're cleaning those messes up, yeah, we'll do it, but that's not where we want to be as a business. And so this whole thing is a distraction. It's a weight hanging around our ankles as we try to move forward. So start the communication. What resources can people bring, right? Banks are great with cybersecurity. They're forced to be great with cybersecurity, right? They're audited. They're pressed to do the right things. And so you've got pretty good knowledge. Somebody inside that bank is on top of this for their bank. And they've got knowledge for others that they can share. And by the way, their auditors love it if they help the community out, right? And so they're naturally there. Electric cooperatives are another one, right? They're great to bring into this conversation because they're all about giving back and helping the community, much like you guys are. You got to incentivize people to get training, right? And that's probably our biggest challenge. Here, I'm trying to save your life, but if you let me save your life, I'll give you a free iPad. I mean, it's crazy, right? You know, you got to incentivize people to help themselves. But you do. But here's the deal. It's all worth it, right? I've worked with a lot of organizations over the last couple years in training, bringing to light things that they had no idea of, and it's so rewarding, and it's worth celebrating when you get the email that says, it has a screenshot. I got this email today, but I did my checks. It wasn't actually from the general manager. It was a scam, and I knew better than to click on it, right? And so I'm like, yes, we'll celebrate that. Did we just stop ransomware? Did we just stop that phone company from being breached and from them getting into the phone switch and the internet equipment and the video equipment and taking this whole thing down? Maybe not. We don't know. Wasn't really wanting to find out. But celebrate those things. And I feel like we need to think big on this because this affects everybody. This affects everybody in our community. So how can we engage with the school? What can we do community event-wise? What can we offer our clients or banking clients or whatever to help train them? Let's cover all the spectrums. Let's think big on this thing because it's got huge potential. It's got huge potential. But at the same time, let's get started. I'm currently working with Marnie Elkhorn, Janelle Hansen. They have gone through training that we offer employees of businesses, and every week they get just a little 2, 3, 4 minute video on a cybersecurity topic, 3-4 question quiz, and all their employees go through that once a week. And it keeps it fresh, it keeps it top of mind. And Janelle came to me and she said, how do we get our people to go through this training? Because it's helped us, and they've identified stuff, and they've had some fun. We've made a little game of it, right? Because it will score you, and whoever has the highest score, kind of gets bragging rights and all of that. They're a competitive bunch, by the way. And we really had some fun with that. But the heart of somebody that loves the community goes, there's so many people out there that are completely ignorant to this. How do we train them? How do we keep them safe? What does success look like? Well, for me, it's educated communities, right? We have people that are equipped. They are ready to defend themselves against cybercrime. That victimization drops. We've got less people that have lost money, that have less downtime in their businesses because they got breached. That money stays local. Remember that $6 trillion globally that they're predicting for 2021? I don't know how much of that is coming out of our communities, but our people work hard for their money. And that money needs to stay in our local communities and not be shipped over to Russia or China. That bothers me. People work too hard for that. We would also have a more valuable workforce. And I don't know that this is necessarily the thing to do quite yet, but I think the day's not far from here where when you're interviewing for a job, one of those questions is going to be, what cybersecurity training do you have? People that have cybersecurity training are going to be more valuable employees. They're going to be easier to hire. Employers are going to be more comfortable hiring somebody that's on top of this stuff. We can have our kids prepared for the future. I mean, we can just throw them out there and let them learn the hard way, or we could prepare them. And lastly, our community can come together. We can rally around each other and help each other out in this battle. So here's some helpful tips. Invest in relationships, right? I'm trying to break this cybersecurity is a technology problem mentality. I'm trying to get rid of that because we've got to stop thinking like that. It's a piece and it's a critical piece of it, but if we stop there, we're missing the boat, guys. So we've got to invest in relationships. Invest in relationships with leaders in the community, with your school, with your bank, all of those things. I mean, you guys do a lot of that already, but not necessarily on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is sort of this, well, that's our kind of little secret deal, and we don't want people to know how far behind we are or what weaknesses we have. We've got to be a little bit more open about it. We've got to collaborate, business to business, person to person, talking about what's going on. Hey, I saw this weird email come in the other day. Did you see that one? Yeah, we should, let people know about this. That kind of simple communication and collaboration is huge in preventing cybersecurity attacks. Educate people. I said uneducated people are our greatest risk. They are. But educated people, I believe, can be our greatest strength in this battle. Do not lead with fear. I know, I told you a bunch of scary stuff at the beginning. I know. Good leaders don't lead with fear. Right? It's scary stuff. The stats are staggering. It is crazy. It's crazy out there, and your natural inclination is to lead with fear. You don't want to get hacked, do you? Don't click on that email. Be really scared of anything that comes in, and we can't live that way. That's not healthy community. That's why I'm so big on educating. Let's equip people, right? Let's help them build some confidence in how they can protect themselves. We put people through self-defense classes, right? We put them through hunter safety if they want to hunt, right? We do all these things. Yeah, there's danger involved in these scenarios, but here's some things you can do to protect yourself. This is no different. So don't lead with fear. And cybersecurity is everyone's job. This isn't a product you put together and you push out. This isn't one thing. This is all minds, all businesses, all residents working together to make a difference. So this last Saturday, I went down to Hamburg, Iowa. This is Hamburg, Iowa, on the 21st. You guys have, I'm sure, seen all of this on the news. Crazy amounts of water hit the community hard. They always are prone to flooding, but when these big ones hit, it's hard. It's hard. Community. This is what communities do. When they're under attack, when they're down and out, when things are happening that shouldn't be happening, they gather together. It's what makes me so proud to live in this state, to live in the Midwest. You hear it all the time, right? A natural disaster in Iowa is fixed or repaired differently than it is in other parts of the country. It's because of our greatest strength, and that's our communities. Pulling together, caring about one another, cleaning up the mess. And how can we stop this from happening again? Let's put our heads together. Let's find solutions. Let's work on this problem. Let's get everybody involved. We can't keep doing this. This is kind of a carbon monoxide thing, this cybersecurity deal, right? It's this thing that's happening to quite a few people, but it's silent. And I would propose to you that while I think people know that it's a problem, I don't think you know how big of a problem it truly is. And how much of a problem does it need to be before we act? Is one person a month, is that too much? One person a week, one person a day? Where do we draw the line, right? I mean, if you had people going around and breaking into people's homes, which a lot of communities have had those scenarios where you kind of have a rash of things like that happening. What do? We start neighborhood watch. We take action. We're going to stop that because it's not right. And so if I can take off the blinders for people today and say, open up your eyes. This is a bigger problem than it should be. And what can we do to solve it? So my key takeaways for you today: cyber attacks continue to grow. They're not getting less and less, they're getting more and more. They're growing. People and businesses are unequipped to defend against these attacks. In many cases, they're sitting ducks out there. We can work together and solve this problem. I believe you guys are well positioned to lead the charge on this. I think you're well positioned. And community is powerful. Community is powerful. Let's leverage our greatest strength. And I would love to have you guys be influencers in your communities. Somebody's got to step up. Yeah, it's everybody's job, but somebody needs to wave the flag and say, hey, let's rally together around this. And so my call to you today is, will you be a leader in that fight in your communities? Will you influence the direction of your communities in this manner? If you're interested, come talk to me. This is it's something I'm starting right now with a couple phone companies in the state, and we're trying to figure this out. But if we want to get together, if we want to collaborate together and figure out what we can do and how to really do this successfully and learn from one another, that would be a beautiful thing. So I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for all that you're doing. Go lead strong, and have a great rest of the conference.